We're down to 88 teams left in the Texas high school football playoffs. We're going to cut that number in half again in the regional finals. These are the picks. Welcome into the picks presented by Visit Arlington, your guide to the Texas high school football weekend. My name is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you so much for tuning in and welcome to December. It is the regional finals of the 2019 Texas high school football playoffs, and we are down to just 7 defending state champs left holding on to their crown. We lost 3 more in the regional semifinals, and right now there are just 44 games scattered across the state, including we will punch our first 4 tickets to AT&T Stadium in Arlington for the state championship games. But there's a lot to get to before we get to all that. We start in Houston. 6 o'clock Saturday at NRG Stadium in Houston. It's the Region 2 final in 6A Division 2 as the Dallas Jesuit Rangers take on the Spring Westfield Mustangs. What are the keys to this matchup? Well, key number 1, Jesuit's ground game. I don't want to take anything away from Jesuit quarterback Rance Holman because he has been very, very solid. But if you ask Coach Brandon Hickman for Jesuit what their team is all about, they are about running the ball, and they do it exceptionally well behind their big offensive line led by Branson Hickman and 2 outstanding running backs in E.J. Smith and Jake Taylor. This team can run and run and run. It's a big reason why they've shocked their last 2 opponents in Longview and Klein Collins to reach this point. Well, Spring Westfield, their defense pretty much prides themselves on the fact that you're not going to be able to run the ball on them, right? Dylan Peavy, their linebacker, has been fantastic. Big defensive lineman Nicholas Brown is a load in the middle, and this is going to be the strength-on-strength matchup in this game. Can the Dallas Jesuit offense run the ball against Spring Westfield, or will the Mustangs shut it down? Key number 2, Westfield's ball security. You know, for a sophomore, quarterback Cardell Williams for Spring Westfield has been really careful with the football. I think you like to think of young players as being a little bit loose with the football, but not Cardell Williams. He's thrown just 4 interceptions on the year, been very, very solid. Not to mention, they run the ball very well. Plain and simple, this Westfield team plays clean football. They don't turn the ball over very much. Dallas Jesuits defense, though, they are ball hawks. They turn their opponents over in droves, led by their safety, Jack Barton. This is a defense that likes to take the ball away from you, and they're very, very good at it. So turnover margin is going to be a big factor in this matchup. Can Westfield hold on to the ball? And key number 3, momentum. I think you could have penciled Spring Westfield in here into the regional final. This is a team that's been strong all year long, and we thought that they had a really good shot of getting out of Region 2. Dallas Jesuit wasn't supposed to be here. They were supposed to lose 2 weeks ago to defending state champ Longview, only they went and knocked off the Lobos. And then, you know, last week, a nice win, but you're supposed to lose to Klein Collins. Well, they had other plans for that as well. The Rangers, if you believe in momentum, have all of it in this game. They are playing with house money. I don't believe in momentum, plain and simple. I believe in confidence, though. And right now, this Jesuit team is playing with a supreme amount of confidence. In this regional final, does that play out that way? Who am I picking? I'm going with Spring Westfield. I think that the Mustangs are now the favorite to come out of Region 2 because of their offensive balance with Kendall Taylor, their running back, and their quarterback, Cardell Williams. Beyond that, I think that their defense is starting to play its best football right now. What they did last week to a high-powered Midway team is very impressive. Jesuits got all the magic right now, right? This is a program that is flying high and feeling like they can beat anybody, and I feel like if they get another sensational game from running back E.J. Smith, they've got a great shot, but most importantly, they've got to force a couple of turnovers. They got to play +2 or +3 in the turnover margin to win this game. But another advantage for Westfield, this game is in Houston. This game is at NRG Stadium. I think that's a little bit of an advantage that puts the Mustangs into the state semifinals. Let's go northwest, 7 o'clock Friday night at Buffalo Stadium in Canyon. It's a 3A Division II regional final between the Abernathy Antelopes and the Canadian Wildcats. What are the keys to this matchup? Key number 1, dual threat dynamos. You know, coming into the year, we had big questions about what Canadians' offense is going to look like. They needed a quarterback. Well, Grant McCook has stepped up in a big way at the signal caller spot. This guy has been lightning in a bottle for Chris Ketting's offense. He has been sensational. Abernathy, we did not have any questions about their quarterback situation. Bryson Daly has been as advertised for this Antelopes attack. It's a big reason why Abernathy is in this spot right now, looking to advance to a state semifinal. So, when these 2 dynamic dual-threat quarterbacks go head-to-head, who wins out? Key number 2, quietly strong defenses. Both these teams score a lot and points get headlines, but what's really special about both these squads is that the defenses have been just as good as those offenses. You know, for Abernathy, Dante Flores has led the way of this Antelopes defense that is a lot better than people may realize. And on the Canadian side, the safety duo of Bill and Jack Ketting is leading the way for this Wildcats defense that can turn you over and make big plays themselves. For both of these teams, the headliners are on offense, but the defenses are even more important to what they do. Who steps up on this big stage? And key number 3, late and close. So neither of these teams have really been challenged much. Abernathy has played just one game within one score. That was when they lost to Post 14-13 in a weather-shortened game. That game ended in the third quarter. Canadian has not played a game within 14 points all year long. Well, this is a huge challenge because I think that this game's going to be close. I think that these are two really evenly matched squads, and it figures that it's going to come down to the fourth quarter in a one-score game. And neither of these teams are really that experienced in playing in those types of situations. So, when they get to new ground like that, where it's late and close, who can make those key plays? Who am I picking? I'm going with Canadian. They've been my pick in Region 1 since the beginning of the playoffs, and I see no reason to change it right now. I think maybe the key here, we talk a lot about Grant McCook, their quarterback, but Hayes Huffstedler, I think their running back, is another critical component to this Wildcats attack. They need to have that balance, and that is going to be a big challenge for this Abernathy defense. Now, what I love about this game is you've got two quarterbacks who can absolutely positively take it over and will their team to a state semifinal. It would not be a surprise at all to see Abernathy come away with a win. But I think the Canadian defense makes enough plays, and I think that their balance on offense wins out. I think Canadian moves on to the state semifinals. Let's go to 6A Division 1, 2:30 p.m. Saturday afternoon at McKinney ISD Stadium. It's the Region 1 championship between the South Lake Carroll Dragons and the Duncanville Panthers. This is a rematch of last year's regional final, which really served as the coming out party for Duncanville. They drilled South Lake Carroll 51-7, the worst playoff loss in South Lake Carroll history. And you got to believe that South Lake Carroll has been thinking about that for an entire year and wants a little bit of revenge. And I do think that this Carroll team is better than they were last year. I think quarterback Quinn Ewers has added a new element to this team, and beyond that, I think their defense is playing exceptionally well. But right now, the Duncanville defense is playing like a team on a mission. They have looked outstanding against a bunch of high-powered offenses this year. Beyond that, they've still got that guy. They've still got Jaquindon Jackson running the show at the quarterback spot. While I don't think their offense is quite as good as it was last year, I think he's certainly enough to get them to a state semifinal. I think Duncanville brings home a win. To 5A Division 1 we go, 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Buccaneer Stadium in Corpus Christi. San Antonio Wagner takes on Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial in the Region 4 final, and it's a matchup of a team that we definitely thought would be here in Wagner against a team that finished 4th in their own district, Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial. One of the great stories of the Texas high school football playoffs this year, and it's easy to see why. Quarterback Carter Centerfit has been sensational for this Eagles team, and they have looked every bit the part of not only a regional contender, but maybe even a state title contender. Going up against San Antonio Wagner, the defending region champs, and they have looked the part as well. Their running game is certainly humming behind L.J. Butler, who is a man-child out there, extremely hard to bring down. This is a really interesting matchup between two different styles. You're going to see Veterans Memorial air this ball out with Centerfit, and you're going to see Wagner pound it on the ground. One thing that I'm watching, though, is that this Wagner secondary has been torched the last couple of weeks, and that makes me think that Veterans Memorial, the 4 seed, is going to come away with a win. That's right. I think the Eagles move on to the semifinals. To 5A Division 2 we go, 2 o'clock Saturday at Freedom Field in Iowa Colony as Manvel takes on Fort Bend Marshall in the Region 3 final. This is a rematch of their district game back in Week 4 when Manvel brought home a 38-34 victory. And the question is, how much has changed since then? We know what Fort Bend Marshall is about. Running back Devonna Chan is one of the very best players in the state. Quarterback Malik Hornsby has been terrific. And more importantly, recently, the Fort Bend Marshall defense has been very, very good. Well, they're going to need to be good again against Tucker Yarborough, the quarterback for Manvel, and their outstanding running back, Donovan Eaglin, who had an outstanding game last week against Barbers Hill. My question is, who makes stops, right? There's plenty of firepower on the field who makes stops. It's really hard to beat a good team twice. But Manvel looks like they're on a mission to prove that they are the dominant power in Region 3. I think they come away with another very narrow win. To 4A Division 1 we go. 7 o'clock Friday night at McLean Stadium in Waco as Argyle takes on Waco La Vega in a game that we've pretty much had circled since they met back in Week 2, when Argyle went on the road to Belmead and beat La Vega 49-35. And now you're probably saying, but Tepper, what happened last year? Well, last year, Argyle beat La Vega in the regular season, and then La Vega beat Argyle in the playoffs in the game that mattered, right? On their way to a state championship. And there's plenty of reason to believe that's going to happen again. Elisha Cummings, the running back for La Vega, has hit another gear, and quarterback Landry Kinney really feels like he is settling in. I think this team, there may not be a new addition to this La Vega team, but I think that they have gelled in a very real way that could make this a really interesting matchup. But on the Argyle side, quarterback Bo Hogaboom has been quite simply one of the best players in the state this year. His wide receiver core has stepped up in a big way, and I think that their defense may be coming around. They had an outstanding effort last week against Brownwood. I think this game is very close, probably comes down to something like special teams or a key turnover towards the end. But I think Argyle may be looking like a team that could win it all. I like the Eagles to bring home a win. 4 Division 2 now, 3:30 p.m. Friday afternoon at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. The Region 4 title is on the line as Geronimo Navarro takes on Wimberley. This is a rematch of a district game in which Navarro handled Wimberley relatively easily in Week 9. And look, I think this is a different Wimberley team. I think they're playing significantly better than they were back in Week 9, most notably because Cooper McCollum, their quarterback, has been sensational. But my question is, can the defense do anything to slow down Euler De Leon and this Navarro slot T offense? Because it is humming right now. That's the big challenge. For Wimberley, they want to keep the score low. I think that they have got to find a way to slow down this Navarro offense. But right now, the Panthers, I think, are just too hot. I think Navarro brings home the win. In 3A Division 1, 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Pennington Field in Bedford, the Brock Eagles take on the Pilot Point Bearcats. And hey, another rematch of a district matchup. Pilot Point edged Brock back in Week 5, 20-14, and this figures to be just as close because these two teams are playing their best football right now. Jacob Pitts, the quarterback for Pilot Point, I think leads an offense that wants to push the pace. The higher scoring this game is, the more it benefits Pilot Point because this is a Brock team that is not necessarily built to score big points. They are built to grind it on the ground with running back Cash Jones and lean on their defense. But I think that Brock defense is the difference. I think they are the reason why Brock moves into the state semifinal. 2A Division 1 now, 7 o'clock Friday night at the Mustang Bowl in Sweetwater. It's a battle of unbeatens as the Post Antelopes take on the Hawley Bearcats. And if you like a game that's going to be over in 45 minutes, you will love this game because both of these teams are going to do basically nothing but run the ball, and for good reason. They are really, really good at it. Tatum Thetford and Ashton Jefferson lead the way for this bold, cold attack for Post. Meanwhile, what can you say about Colton Marshall for Hawley that hasn't already been said? He's already over 3,000 yards rushing for the year. He has been sensational. The question is who steps up defensively. Right now, I think the Post defense has a very slight edge. I think the Antelopes move on to the state semifinal. In 2A Division 2, 7 o'clock Friday night at Lion Stadium in Vernon, the Hamlin Pied Pipers take on the Wellington Skyrockets in what is undoubtedly the best mascot matchup of the weekend, but also a game that we kind of had circled for a while. I think that we started to realize that these were the two strongest teams in Region 2, and here they are colliding for a regional title. Wellington has been very strong all year long, and it feels like that running game is really, really starting to hum. Running back Mark Ramirez paced a 363-yard attack against Windthorst last week. On the other side for Hamlin, they've got great balance to their offense. Javon Williams, their running back, and Braden Warner, their quarterback, lead a balanced attack. This game comes down to defense. This game comes down to who can make more stops. This isn't score for score. This is stop for stop. And for me, I think I trust the Hamlin defense just a little bit more. I think this game is close, and I think this game actually has a chance to be very low scoring. But for now, I think Hamlin brings home a win. And we will punch our first tickets to the state championship games this weekend. In these 1A ranks, six-man football has reached the state semifinals, including in 1A Division 1, 7 o'clock Friday night at Tiger Stadium in Hico as Blum takes on Jonesboro. Both these teams had to battle back from halftime deficits in their regional finals, but did so with gusto. Their defenses really stepping up. The names to know here are Ian Schoaf for Jonesboro and Dylan Vardman, the quarterback for Blum. I think this game is very close and potentially very hard to call. This is one of the toughest games, I think, to predict in the state this week. But I think Blum's defense gives it a very slight edge. I think the Bobcats are heading for AT&T Stadium. And in 1A Division II, 6:30 p.m. Friday night at Greyhound Field in Knox City, the Motley County Matadors take on the Blackwell Hornets for a spot at the state championship game. And what a story for Blackwell this year. Last week, they knocked off number 1 Jayton to earn their first ever state semifinal appearance. Cameron Coldiron and Michael Lowry have been terrific for this Blackwell squad. Motley County was the favorite coming out of Region 1, and there's no reason that they shouldn't be here. This team has been outstanding all year long, and they can score with anybody. Demetric Sims is the name to know for the Matadors. But right now, there's something about this Blackwell team that's starting to feel like a team of destiny, and I'm wondering if that's going to carry them through. I think Blackwell advances to the state championship game. But those are far from the only big games in the regional finals of the Texas High School Football Playoffs. Let's get to the lightning round. In 6A Division I, I like Rockwall over Prosper. Lake Travis gets a big scare, but they get by Converse Judson. And Galena Park North Shore keeps on rolling. They beat Atascocita. 6A Division II now, Denton Geyer gets by Amarillo Tascosa in a high-scoring affair. I like Cy Creek over Katy Taylor in a regional final that I don't know if anybody saw coming. And in Region 4, I like Austin Westlake to beat San Antonio Brandeis. In 5A Division I, I like Denton Ryan over Colleyville Heritage. Give me Frisco Lone Star to take down Lancaster in a close one. And I like Alvin Shadow Creek over Manor. In 5A Division II, I think Aledo gets by Ennis. I think Lubbock Cooper wins its rematch with Wichita Falls Ryder. And Corpus Christi Calallen keeps on running. They get by Bernie Champion. 4A Division I now, what a story out of Dumas. I think it keeps going with a win over Springtown. Give me Carthage to beat Midlothian Heritage. And in a district rematch, I like Lampasas over Liberty Hill. 4A Division II now, West Orange Stark wins its rematch with Silsbee. Pleasant Grove wins its rematch with Gilmer. And I like Midland Greenwood over Iowa Park. In 3A Division I, I like Pottsboro to edge Gladewater. Give me Columbus to avenge its earlier loss to Hallettsville. And I'm done picking against Grandview. I think the Zebras beat Troy. 3 rematches in 3A Division II. I like Dangerfield over Paul Pewitt. I like East Bernard over Ganado. And I like Gunner over Holiday. In 2A Division I, I think Valley View gives San Saba everything they can handle, but the Armadillos win out in the end. I like San Augustine over Groveton. And in the lone Thursday night game this week, I like Refugio over Holland. Expect some fireworks in 2A Division II. I like Stratford over Wink. Give me Fall City over Bremond. And Mart beats Munster. And there's 2 more tickets to AT&T Stadium to punch. In 1A Division II, in a battle of 2 6-man dynasties, I think Richland Springs gets the edge over Strawn. And in 1A Division I like defending state champ McLean to get by Rankin. And those are the picks. What am I wrong about? I didn't leave out any games because there's only 44 and I picked all of them. So just let me know what I'm wrong about. Leave comments down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbells. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbells. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com, where you can find complete coverage of the 2019 Texas High School Football Playoffs at texasfootball.com/playoffs. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the regional finals of the Texas High School Football Playoffs. We'll see you.